a lot of spiritual teachings or religions around the world, but not only, they're not really, if you look around in different types of belief, there are not many that believe in law of karma. So obviously, okay, let's go through very quickly to this initial verse. Beings of five destinies, actually five destinies refer to the sixth realm, coexist with a mix of good and evil karma. We deluded karma, afflictions, and divine views. So these are all different type of beliefs. We deny the law of cause and effect. So everyone conceals the seeds of cause and effect. It's all within oneself. That's the truth. So it doesn't matter what one believe in, the seeds of cause and effect will always be there. So it doesn't mean that you do not believe that's cause and effect, therefore you will not have any karma. So it doesn't happen that way. So the seeds contain an ocean of fruit, and depending on what the seeds are, bad seed will give you bad fruits. No hidden, they are not lost. So so they are, if you learn more and more about, and I think it's useful to understand other practices in other religions, because some way they are evolved in become deviant views. And obviously I do try to learn and understand the religion in the past decades, try to understand their way of things, but unfortunately things have deviated from what the original intention are. So in Hinduism, for example, they believe in law of cause and effect. In fact, if you practice a compassion, the ultimate compassion, if you understand Jainism, Jain was also around the same time as the Buddha, about 500 over BC. Jainism, they take it to the extreme in the practice of compassion. So there are various spiritual practices in cause and effect. So you just need to understand. It's also important to understand what are the differences between Buddhism and the others, which I don't have time to share with you today, maybe another time. So master explanation. So we are currently coexisting with beings of high destinies, and because they are not enlightened beings, so it can have positive and negative effect upon on us. So therefore, we need to be very mindful. That's the reason why I emphasize a lot about growing your consciousness. Unless you grow in your consciousness, and mindfully so, obviously you cannot grow in your consciousness overnight. It takes you years, even decades to grow in your consciousness, and even lifetime after lifetime to grow in your consciousness. But the important thing is to plant the seed. Plant the seed and grow in your consciousness and know how to grow in your consciousness. And that's important, because when you do, then you have the consciousness of awareness, and you have the consciousness of mindfulness. And then it doesn't matter what so-called beings are around, and you'll not be so easily influenced. So you have to ground your spiritual roots. And Master went on to say that some people are poor, but they remain diligent in face of hardship. And the hearts are still at peace, and so they do not create any more negative karma in this life, although they have challenging karma sits with them. But at least this time round, they do not stop depositing any more karmic seeds, negative karmic seeds. So, but there are also people who are very wealthy, and they're still kind and charitable in this life, continuing to give others. And these are people with blessings and wisdom at the same time, but not many people have this as your sin. So this manifestation of the karma, and Master gave on the metaphor of a seed. So therefore, and that's why a small tiny seed can grow into an ocean of fruit. And then they will bear from the seed, they grow another tree, and then the tree will bear more seeds and the kind of fruit. And so this will go to different cycles. I mean, no different from what we are going through, the cycles of lifetime. So we understand the metaphor. Therefore, the seeds that we have is actually our karmic seeds. And these karmic seeds are deposited in our eighth consciousness. And when the conditional is right, so the seeds are the arising from our causes. So when the condition are right, the causes and condition will manifest into karma. And that's what's happened in this lifetime. Now, yaksas, if you remember yaksas, in the teachings, like in chapter 21, 22, the Master sometimes refer to the 8 types of beings who come and listen to the Buddha Dharma. One of them are yaksas, actually. So yaksas, they are very powerful beings. I understand that in the celestial realm. And so they also try to listen to Dharma, but because of their deviant views, they can influence us. Now, I didn't have time to share the point yesterday. This was Master mentioned that spiritual beings are 3 inches above your head. Maybe you can try to contemplate on that a bit, and maybe with time I can share you a little bit more. And you see, that's part about consciousness that you need to be mindful, because there will always be spiritual energy that is influencing us all the time. And obviously some can feel it, some don't. So if you're deep rooted, then you'll be fine. So yaksas, don't forget that yaksas, they also trying to learn the Dharma from the Buddha. They also want to learn to evolve. And so some of them can be subdued, most of them are not. So they are like any other beings. So the lessons learned. Deviant mindset, obviously in the case when one is deviant, they do not believe in karma, does not believe in cause and effect. But yet there are other practices, as I mentioned before, they believe in karma. So they also believe in karma, and so do we. So is there any difference in the practices? They are actually, there are differences. And so these are things when you go into so-called deviant or different path, you also need to understand the differences. So this obviously evil thoughts will manifest into our different unwholesome thoughts, words, and deeds, and they will in conflict with us, giving rise to negative karmic seeds. So we've got to be very mindful so that we are not being hindered in our practice, and more so we are not being hindered in our future life, in our practice. So true spiritual practice takes place amongst the people, not in any other way. So that's the reason why you will come across different practice and different path. So you need to also then understand, even though they have similarities in sometimes in law of karma, in the belief, so you also need to understand how their practice is developed, so that we do not fall into deviant practices. So in contemplation, in this period of change, you will see the surfacing of gossips arising from deluded thoughts, greed, and self-centeredness. And this period of change, and I don't need to emphasize on this period of change, you're already seeing this. You see, normally changes will always happen in a millennium. So we pass the year 2000, and so these changing forces they're still around. And all this, you can hear gossip, fake news, deluded thoughts, you see greed and self-centeredness, and this all happening right now. So much like water in a pond, it's ruffled with sediments afloat, and so therefore it's like a lotus pond, is it not? So and the mud is being disturbed, it's all ruffled. So we need to be still to observe and learn in our practice. So we cannot, because this is it is happened. We're born in this place, we're born in this world, and this is the substantial karma that we have to learn and observe. So remain calm and do not participate in the gossips. They are just like a passing wind. So the change, there will always be changes of energy. When the energy settles, a period of correction will appear. Those who are ruffled will be settled at the bottom. So remember, there's no Dharma without karma. And I may have shared with you that last sentence before. So the Dharma is here for you all to learn in this midst of time. So the truth is suffering. Truth of suffering is part of life. That is the law of karma. So you cannot pay your way out of suffering, but you can pray for the divine wisdom and compassion to guide you, to cultivate, to deal with your suffering. And this is important to understand what that prayer is for. So suffering is part of cultivation to purify the body, the speech, and the mind, arising from past karma. So we are here in this life to purify and to grow in our consciousness. All right, Gan En, brothers and sisters, that's all. Thank you.
Gan En, thank you so much, BrotherChin, for another splendid round of sharing. Yeah.